Okay, Kurt. So what can your clients expect in terms of like time requirements or resource requirements to support one of your audits?
Sure, sure. First off, as far as an impact, both to the contractor or construction manager as well as to the owner of the project, the impact is minimal. We have, I'll use a typical project it's about a 6-week time frame. We'll have what's called a kickoff meeting that will require the owner's involvement as well as the contractor's involvement. We'll go through a documentation request as well as agree on a timeline for completion. And that documentation request, as an auditor, I don't want the contractor to go create something for the audit. I want to use the documents that they're using day in, day out to manage the job, bill the owner. So I'm not asking for new items. So typically it doesn't take a lot of time for them to compile the items I need. So we usually give them a week to 2 weeks to turn that documentation around to us. We'll then spend the next 2 to 3 weeks going through it in detail, identifying questions or items for clarification. We'll come in and then have a meeting. At least in the pre-pandemic world, it would be in person. Usually takes about 1 day. We would go through the questions, the items for clarification. The contractor sometimes will have to, gather additional data or support to answer those questions. And then we'll take that back and start compiling our report. And 2 to 3 weeks later, we should have a draft report ready for review with the owner. And so the owner's involvement is very limited. The contractor's involvement, frankly, is not too detailed. It's mainly just pulling data that they should already have. And so that report, if everybody's meeting their deliverables, takes about 6 weeks to put together. And so the owner then will have a report for that audit period. So we'll, if it hasn't been audited before, typically this will be all billings up to the present. If it's been audited before, it'll be all billings since the last audit. And we'll then deliver an audit report it has sections with findings in it. It'll have the applicable contract language that we believe is not being adhered to, and the amount of recovery we believe is due to the owner. And then we'll sit down and have a meeting with all 3 parties to kind of walk through the report, get both sides of the story, and then agree on a resolution and move on. So it doesn't take a lot of time, and you get a good, concise report with detail that you probably wouldn't have otherwise unless you've got a much greater staff level than most institutions have.